let's talk about a little bit about the past, okay? We've got several names of past and present drama directors in the program tonight, and I'm going to read that list, and if you're here, will you stand, okay? Past, present drama directors, I want to recognize you tonight, all right? Here we go. Mason Carpenter, Mary Collins, Marla Cook, Tammy Cook, Lois Crooks, Ray Crooks, Kevin Mays, Ruby Mays, Ben Nelson, Alma Ross, Sarah Ross, Tanya Smith, and Lynette Williams. Will you all stand? Can we give these past drama directors a huge hand? Thank you for being part of our history. We do have some gifts for you tonight. Remain standing for just a minute. We've got just a small token tonight as they come to you. As they're doing that, I would like to direct your attention back to the screen tonight to watch a special video presentation as we move for our program.
Ruby is not only my aunt, she is my great aunt. But make no mistake, that makes me her great nephew. Since great aunt Ruby taught at KCCBS and lived just a block away from the school, each of my siblings and I, during our junior and senior years of high school, lived with great aunt Ruby and went to school at OCH. Ruby's love for grammar and English literature never really rubbed off on me, but her love for drama did. I think while I was there at OCH and KCCBS, I was in practically every drama that they did. I was in Christie and Anne of Green Gables and Papa Was a Preacher and Sound of Music and many others. Everyone loved Ruby. That is, except for the week of the drama. Yes, it was this week that stress levels were very high. You better not miss a line or dare miss your cue to come out on stage or goof around when you were on the stage. People would often try to tiptoe around Ruby. That was kind of hard for me to do since I had lived in the same house with her. It was during those drama days that I learned some new words from Ruby. No, not those kind of words. I learned words like enunciate. Of course, when Ruby would say it, she would enunciate it very strongly. Enunciate. Words like speak loudly. Again, Ruby would say that very loudly and enunciate it while she said it. Also, another favorite of hers was stage presence. I heard that one quite a bit. And then she would say, don't turn your back to the audience. Yes, Ruby became known for these and other things that she would say during dramas. Those last days leading up to a drama were very stressful for Ruby. She would often lament about how she didn't know how it was going to come together. Of course, once the final curtain was closed and we called Ruby up on stage and would give her yet another Precious Moments figurine, I assume she probably has the entire collection by now, she would act very grateful and surprised at this gift that we were giving her as just a small token of our appreciation. After the cast party, I would often sit in Ruby's living room late that Saturday night as she would go on and on about how wonderful the actors had done and how wonderful the set looked and the way that the crowd was into it and all the compliments that she got. And she would always say, I didn't know how it was going to come together, but it did. Yes, Ruby, it did. Because dramas, when led by a great drama director like you, always come together. Ruby, it is my honor to be asked to honor you tonight. You've had a profound influence on my life as well as the lives of countless others. You deserve this recognition for all of your many, many years spent working in Christian education. Thank you for a job well done. And remember, in my script, you will always be known as my great Aunt Ruby.
Congratulations, Ruby. What a wonderful and worthy recipient of honor you are. We just want to tell you how much we love you and we appreciate you and thank you for your life of servanthood. Your life has just been marked by servanthood the entire time. You could have made a much bigger salary. You could have made a much bigger name for yourself out in the world and a bigger job. But you listened to the call of God and you said yes. And you gave your life serving your God and our God and the students of KCCBS. And let me tell you, we are all richer and better because of it. Thank you, Ruby. I just want to tell you, my life would be different if you had not been in it. If you had not said yes to the Lord and served KCCBS for all those years, my life would be very, very different. And I dare say it would not have been as rich and rewarding had it not been for you. So thank you, Ruby.
Over the past few days, I have been reminiscing about some of my time working on the dramas at KCCBS. And I've been digging through old yearbooks and photo albums. I even found some old scripts from long gone, many memories, and some of them highlighted with parts from all these years ago. I found photos of many of my old friends from many of the productions that I've done. Here's one with the Reverend Joe Trussell and my friends from Smoke on the Mountain. I even found an old program from when I was in Papa Was a Preacher in 1978, and some friends that you might recognize from a long time ago. This is the best Christmas pageant ever, one of my first productions that I did. And I thought, why would someone spend so many hours, thousands of hours on a stage, setting up lights, building sets, memorizing parts, organizing a cast? And I thought, it's really my mom's fault. When I was in the 7th or 8th grade, I had my mom for an English teacher, if you can imagine that. I'm pretty sure she picked on me and used me as an example, but somehow through all that pain, I was inspired by her teaching. And I thought to myself, I want to be an English teacher like my mom someday. But she also dragged me into the world of drama. She loved drama from an early age, and when we moved to Kansas City, we started working on several plays, and she influenced me to want to work in drama. And so I blame her for all of that time that we spent on the stage and backstage working. She was my inspiration. So thank you, Mom. I love you, and I'm so proud of you for all the things that you've done over the years.
Sister Ruby Mays Rice graduated from KCCBS High School in 1951. She graduated from college here at KCCBS in 1954 with a Bachelor of Arts in English. Miss Ruby Mays Rice taught her first KCCBS solo drama in 1980, and it was called A Man Called Peter. She either directed or produced 21 or 22 dramas while here at KCCBS, and two of her favorites were Heidi and Anne of Green Gables. And she says that two of her most difficult were Sound of Music and Christy. In 1996, Ruby wrote a letter to the alumni members asking them to participate in a musical called 4 Tickets to Christmas. And what an outpouring of support there was. It was a great production. It was a very successful production. In 1998, she wrote A Mother's Song. It was produced 5 times, 3 times here at KCCBS and twice at Mid-America Nazarene College Church in Olathe. She participated in 2 dinner dramas, which also resulted in large crowds, similar to what we have here this evening. She received a Master of Arts in English in 1989. When information was shared with Ruby about this award being awarded to her this evening, she said this. She said, "Well, I pray that God will give me such a true love for others, that the love of Jesus Christ will be shown throughout my life and shown to those I meet. I am so thankful for God's goodness, grace, and mercy. I thank God daily for his unfailing love for me. He has been so good to me." What a living testimony of God's love and goodness that Ruby has been to those who have followed Jesus. Ruby, tonight we honor you. with an award for the very first time that we are calling the Ruby Award. And in your honor, we're going to begin this tradition of awarding a fine arts and drama department student with this award each year called the Ruby Award. So Ruby, will you please come forward? You can come down here and receive this award on behalf of all of your friends and family here at KCCBS. And Ruby, stay here for just a second. The board has also honored her with the resolution, and you may be seated if you wish. The board has honored her with the resolution conferring the title Director Emerita of Fine Arts and Theater at Kansas Christian College. And it says this: whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice earned her Bachelor of Arts degree in English in 1954 from Kansas City College and Bible School and her Master of English degree in 1989, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice served as a professor at KCCBS for the 1954 to 55 academic year, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice continued her service to the college as a professor from 1976 until her retirement from full-time teaching in 2002 after a total of 27 years of loyal and dedicated service, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice taught 4 more years of online courses for KCCBS, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice directed more than 20 dramas at KCCBS from 1980 to 2001, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice recruited alumni and directed the first alumni drama at KCCBS in 1996, starting a tradition which fosters great community for KCC alumni, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice authored and directed an original drama, A Mother's Song, produced at the KCCBS and at College Church of the Nazarene in Olathe, Kansas, and whereas in addition to her duties as professor and director, Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice encouraged, uplifted, and challenged her students during their college days and beyond, and whereas Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice has consistently lived her life to exalt God by loving her students and neighbors, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Kansas Christian College that it approves the appointment of Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice as Director Emerita of Drama in the Department of Fine Arts and Theater at Kansas Christian College. Resolved that this Board of Trustees herein extends its deepest appreciation to Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice for her Christian dedication and service to Kansas Christian College and to its students, past and present. Resolved that the Board of Trustees confers upon Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice the title Director Emerita with all the privileges pertaining thereto effective April 30, 2022. Resolved that this resolution is spread upon the permanent minutes of this board and that copies are given to Mrs. Ruby Mays Rice to share with members of her family and to other appropriate college officials. Let's give her another warm round of applause.
Over there, I've got, over there, I've got a little thing to look at.
Piece of paper.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I am so overwhelmed that I do not know what to do. I wanted to break out and cry, but I'm not going to cry because I appreciate everyone that's here tonight, and I appreciate the love of God most of all for what He's done for me. I want to express appreciation to our president. I don't know who got this up, but whoever did, I want to say thank you, a big, big thank you to everyone that was responsible for this lovely, lovely evening. I'm so thankful tonight to have so many of my family here. I have my children. I have several of my grandchildren. I have nieces and nephews and cousins, and I'm overwhelmed. I see so many of you that were in my dramas, and I've just reminisced. I've just thought about so many, many things the last few weeks that have gone on in my life, and I appreciate all of you so much. I wanted to just honor a few people that helped me so much. I haven't seen them, but I wanted to mention Tanya Smith. She was worked with me for so many years as the stage manager, and you can't have a good drama unless you have a good stage manager. So thank you, Tanya, for your wonderful, wonderful help. And also Tim Scott. I don't know whether I ought to say anything good about him after what he said about me, but Tim not only was a stage manager part of the time, but he helped build sets. He built, I have no idea how many sets. And you can't have a good drama unless you have a good set. So thank you for Tim for all that he did. And I want to say, I still love my good nephew. He's so sweet. He's still great. Laryl Witt, I don't think he's here tonight, but Laryl and his daughter, Olita, they spent night after night working on sets after Tim was unable to do it. And I would love for them to know that how much I appreciate that. Arthur Scott, who's gone on to heaven, helped with sets different time, and anything I needed extra, Arthur was always around to help. Alma Hare, she's gone on to heaven, but she was one that did a lot of the costuming, made things for Joseph's play, made it for Heidi. I don't know how many she made special costumes for. The McGehee sisters. What can I say about the McGehee sisters? You that know them know that they are the most talented sisters, and anything I needed done, whether it was painting or whether it was items for the set, they were always there. And there's several of them here tonight, and I just want to say thank you, every McGehee sister that's here, for what you have done and helped me so many times. Gloria Myers was always in charge of our, well, it was kind of simple back then, it seemed, but we did start some dinner dramas back then, and I thank Gloria. But the one I have to thank most of all, get over here, young man, my boy. What would I have done without my boy? I couldn't have made it. He was my helper. He was always there to help in all of the dramas. Not every one of them, but most of them. And we worked together hours and hours and hours. So I love my big boy. He's so sweet. I could say a lot about several others, but, you know, I could just keep on, and I would leave people out. So I want to just mention that when I sent that letter out to the alumni members in 1996, asking the members to come that wanted to help with the alumni, I kept a scrapbook that has all those pictures of 4 tickets to Christmas. And when I was reading in it the other night, I took out the program and counted the people that were involved in that. And there was, with the production crew, there were 150 people that were involved in that first alumni drama. And I thought that was fabulous. Brother Palmer had always said he would like to be in a drama, and I'd always said I wanted to be in a drama. So in that one, we were the grandpa and the grandma. And Terry Pollard was our son, and let's see, Marcia McCarthy was our daughter-in-law, and our children were Brenda Hodo Smith and Lance Pollard. Now, I don't know if Lance is here tonight, but anyway, for some reason, the set was in a barn, and Lance, my grandson, was up in that loft. And I don't know what was wrong with him, but I climbed up, if you can believe that. I climbed up in that loft to do something to encourage him. Is Lance here tonight? He is here. There's my grandson. And I went up there to do something. He was holding a book, and I don't know what the book was. But anyway, that play was absolutely such a delight. Galen Borland directed the orchestra. He was just absolutely fabulous. And so I'm glad we started that. And so that put in my mind, well, why don't I write a play? Which I did the following year. Kevin and I worked together weeks on that play, A Mother's Song. And God used it for His glory and His honor. And I was so scared because I heard that Larry City had rented a bus, a big bus, and they were bringing people from Larry City and family members, and they came up that first night. I didn't know this until I read it recently in some of the things I had put in my scrapbook, but there were 800 people here on Friday night. And the following night, on Saturday night, there were 600 people here. And then we had a dinner drama on Thursday night with 200 people here. Then we did it twice at the College Nazarene Church. So God used that for His glory, and I did it to honor my mother and to bring glory to God. Marcia McCarthy, Fall now, she wrote some of the music for that, and Galen. It turned out, well, I just want to say thank God for how He helped us. All right, that's all I'm going to say, except thank God that He let me work at KCCBS all these years. I was a happy woman. I loved my students. I love God. And I'm glad for all you students that I've seen tonight. I want to cry, but I just say thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Sister Ruby. And, my initiation into the KCCBS theater department came as an 8th grader in 1995, I believe it was, when I played one of Captain Von Trapp's sons, Friedrich, in The Sound of Music. From there, my love for drama only grew as I had the privilege to be a part of many of Sister Ruby's productions through high school and college while I was a student here. Some of my fondest memories of my time in school here were participating in those productions. And in that way, I'm not unlike many of you who are alumni here this evening and have been a part of those dramas and have had similar experiences. And in fact, as I was reflecting on it, I learned some important lessons as a student participating in the theater department under Sister Ruby's direction. And so kind of in that, in the vein of honoring Sister Ruby this evening, using each letter of her first name, I chose 4 important lessons I learned under her direction. R, responsibility. I learned responsibility. I learned the importance of being on time to practices and being prepared, meeting deadlines for memorizing lines, learning music apart from practices, making sure that my costumes and props were always ready and organized, making sure that I didn't miss my cue to be on stage when it was time. The week of the production, I always felt this tremendous weight to ensure that I perform my role well, and those lessons have served me well in my life throughout various places of employment and ministry. She taught me responsibility. Unity. I learned the importance of unity, or we might say teamwork. Those of you who have participated in these productions know that there might be a star of the show, or there might be a lead character or a lead role, but the production is nothing without the supporting cast and crew and the sound and lighting technicians and certainly the director. It's a complete team effort to pull off the major productions. Everyone has to do their part. It has to go off without a hitch. And the importance of teamwork and unity is something that I have tried to teach and model in various leadership roles that I've had throughout my life. As they say, there's no I in team. Sister Ruby taught me unity. Why? Why? That was a hard one to come up with something for why. So the best I could come up with was yell. Sister Ruby taught me to yell. Now, I don't think she quite couched it in those terms. I think that the term that she used was project. In fact, the two words I remember her saying was project, and Tim mentioned this earlier, and enunciate. Enunciate. In fact, I remember one particular time when I was playing Gilbert in Anne of Green Gables, and she wasn't very happy with my assertiveness on stage. I guess in her mind I was being too timid. And so she stood about 3/4 of the way back, probably back about where the serving table is, clear over there. I still remember it to this day. She was against the wall back there, and she told me that she needed to be able to hear me say my lines. Again, there were no microphones, so she needed to be able to hear me say my lines all the way at the back. And one of the things I remember is that I had to say them again and again and again until I had projected to her satisfaction. Now, I will tell you that no one on my team here at the school accuses me of being too quiet. She helped me develop what you might call that preacher voice, if you will. So in a way, she taught me to yell. Sister Ruby, thank you for your impact on my life in the classroom. Thanks for your impact on my life through drama. I forever will be grateful. As I've reflected on the impact that those drama experiences had on my life, I've realized that it wasn't a singular performance. It wasn't even a collection of performances themselves that had the impact. What impacted me was the fact that those opportunities came as a part of the Bible-based education that I received while I was a student here at Overland Christian and what was then KCCBS. The same worldview espoused in the classroom was the filter through which we carried out the performances. We honored God through those creative efforts. We honored God through our actions and our interactions together. We honored God through preparing and performing with excellence. And that's the beauty of what we continue to do here at the school. Whether a student is sitting in a classroom or whether they're sitting in chapel or playing on the court or out on the field or singing in a choir or performing here on stage, as our students are going to do here in a few minutes, the biblical worldview taught in this environment permeates throughout their entire educational experience. I don't know if you've realized this or not, but our culture's pretty messed up right now. People are tired of a lot of the nonsense going on around us. They're tired of the woke agenda in much of public education, and we're seeing families of K-12 students flocking towards homeschooling or Christian schools. We see college students giving a closer look at studying in a Christian college environment. In fact, the impact of Christian education in the lives of our students can't be overestimated. We're in for a treat tonight. Our students have worked hard, and they can't wait to perform this classic musical for you this evening, and Curtin's going to be here in just a few minutes. These are exciting times here on our campus, and we're glad that you're here tonight to celebrate with our students and celebrate and honor Sister Ruby. These are some exciting times on our campus. This school year, we set a record on-campus enrollment in the college with nearly 130 students taking classes on campus this year. In fact, our combined enrollment this year for OCS and online and on campus here in the college reached about 330 students, and next year we're anticipating the enrollment's going to climb to somewhere between 350 and 400 students. And it's not about the numbers, but it's about what those numbers represent, which is students receiving a biblical worldview education, whether it's a preschool student, like my young daughter who's sitting down here this evening, or whether it's a middle or high school student, like my daughter's here in just a few moments, or whether it's a college student. We have an opportunity to educate from a Christian worldview. Of course, this taxes our facilities, and we're working hard to continue our momentum through several growth initiatives. And I don't have time to share those with you this evening, all of that. But let me share with you a few things happening in the next couple of years related to fine arts. Right? Tonight is about theater and music. It's about fine arts. Over the next 2 to 3 years, there's a few things we're going to be doing. In fall of 2022, so fall of this year, we are relaunching the Voices of Victory Choir under the direction of Mr. Booker Fleming. And it's going to have a little bit of a gospel flair to it, I'm sure, but we're relaunching the Voices of Victory Choir. Sometime during next school year, either in August or January, we're launching what we're calling the KCC Worship Institute under the direction of Mr. Curtis Biswell. This is a one-year intensive program to train the next generation of worship leaders. This will be able to be done on site or remotely. We basically have designed it to be scalable. We're going to continue to build the theater program at OCS. In fact, I've got a sheet given to me by the drama department at OCS, a 3-year plan of things they want to do, and all of that's going to take resources. It's going to take money to do that, but they've got some exciting vision for the Overland Drama Department. We want to launch into a full-fledged college theater program as well. We're going to look to hire a college drama director. So there's a lot of exciting things happening here in the next couple of years as it relates to fine arts, even here on our campus. You know, most of us have a love for good, wholesome theater and music. And over the next few years, we're going to be working hard to see this area of our institution blossom and expand so that we can ultimately impact more students with the biblical worldview education. But we can't do it without your help. And so tonight, we ask you for your help. Matt's already talked about it. I ask you for your partnership with us. For some of you, it might be a continued financial partnership. Some of you have already committed a multi-year commitment to help us out financially. For some of you, it might be a new partnership. But I ask you this evening, will you invest in the future of KCC and OCS? Will you invest in kingdom work? I promise you that your investment in the lives of our students will bring a return that only eternity will fully reveal. So I just want to thank you in advance for your partnership. We're glad you're here this evening. Our students have worked hard. I know you are not going to be disappointed.